Okay. Where do I start today? Well, one of the reasons why I'm making these videos is one of my ways of processing information since I was really young, like a little small child, was to talk to myself in the mirror. And it just helps me to understand what I'm doing. But I realize that because I do this process by myself, I don't do it that much with other people all the time. I do it by myself. And one of the things that I've been trying to figure out for the past maybe like more than 10 years, I would say. Probably my whole life, but I became much more aware of it 10 years ago. 10, 11, 12 maybe. Doesn't really matter. I have had a really challenging time with expressing myself freely. I feel like I'm a very expressive person, creative person, but I have seen myself a lot of the time shrinking myself with fear of other people. And I don't want to live like that my whole life, and it doesn't feel like that. I always feel like I want to share who I am much more freely. So this led me on a whole big journey. Basically, I'm very much so into astrology, and I got into like Western tropical astrology, I think that's how you call it, and then I got really into Vedic astrology from the Indian lineage. And let's just say, how do I get into this? I have my Rahu, which is the North Node, in Leo, both in Western and in Vedic astrology. And it's in the second house in one of them and in the third house in the other one. It basically just says, in this life, you're meant to show yourself and communicate. And on one hand, I've always had that fire in me, but I was only able to express it in an environment that I felt safe to a degree. But there was always an insecurity within myself about it. If that makes sense. Where am I going with this? Guess one, it's being comfortable being in front of this camera. And the fact that I'm sharing something that I wish to share with other people, who I am presenting myself, and the things that I'm saying I would say to anyone in front of me, then why am I so scared to do it freely? And I think one is because I've always felt like I wait for other people's permission to be myself. If they're okay with it, then I open up a little bit more. If they ask me, then I open up a little bit more. If they say this or say that, then I do that. And it's not that I go around like just following whatever anyone else says, but it's more like, in terms of my self-expression and my creativity, it feels like I've always had a habit of waiting for other people to give me permission in order for me to show it. Yeah. Like if I create a painting, for me to ask someone else to see it feels challenging. Why? Why is it challenging? One, I felt like it was egocentric of me to want to show off something that I've done. But then, what's the point of it then? If you just hide away everything that you are and you don't show those deeper parts of your soul and how you actually think and the things you actually like and what goes within you, then how do you truly create deep, intimate bonds with people then? Right? So I've been going over this for many years now, and it's been step by step, and it doesn't mean that I'm always shy or that I don't communicate. Quite the opposite. It's more like I just keep waiting for people to give me permission in order for me to be who I want to be, or like my full expression of self in every aspect. And I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to wait for people to give me validation, for me to have an identity. I live life from this spectrum that all of this is very much so sort of like a dream and an illusion. One day you're here, the other one you won't be anymore, and all of this will be gone. But I tend to use that in a way that it seems like it almost discards the aspect that then nothing has any meaning, and your identity or your ego doesn't have a meaning. And in truth it doesn't, but it does at the same time, because it's the lens and the spectrum through which you experience your reality. And your likes and dislikes and the quirky things that you have about yourself that are unique to yourself, though they're not your soul, and it's just sort of like a suit that you're wearing. It's a valuable suit through which your soul has chosen to experience this reality with, and to experience joy from and through those aspects of experience. And those are valuable, and I think I didn't perceive them as valuable for a long time, and that's certainly no good. It actually stripped me away from all identity, and I was very lost of who I was. While I could still feel myself, but you without an identity is empty. Because when I did that, I just felt very, very empty in my chest, and that was not good. That was, I think, one of the hardest periods that I've gone through. And yeah, so having an ego, it's actually natural, and it's your personality. And I've been going back and forth, and why do I judge it? Why do I resist it? Why do I push it away, or would see it or perceive it as a bad thing to show off or to show yourself to people willingly without other people asking you to, come on, put yourself in front of me and do something, but you actually just doing it because you want to, because it's fun for you, because you feel like expressing yourself freely, your body, your voice, your being, just because, and then letting other people decide whether they like it or not. And so while I've been going over this, like, why do I feel judgment towards an ego, having an ego, whether it's me or anyone else? I can accept it if it's coming from someone else, but when I do it, I see as if it's something wrong. Why? 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 I think it's because I came into this life with a full spectrum of don't seek other people's validation. Because if you do, then you're focusing too much on the external outside world, physical realm, instead of the interior spiritual realm, which I felt that was the right thing to do. I felt like that was the right thing to do, that it wouldn't be spiritual or wouldn't be conscious of me to, that if you show yourself to other people without them asking, that would be overly identifying with this identity, human identity, and I felt like that wouldn't serve me, or for some reason that would deter me from having a connection with my soul, with God, with consciousness. And I think I've been holding that belief for a long time, if not since I was born, probably. It was rooted in fear. Fear that if I'm not like this, if I don't fit the box of how someone connects with God or is spiritual or is seen by other people as spiritual, then that would be my punishment. I would be punished and no longer have that connection. That is very sad. That actually makes me emotional. Why would you ever think that? Why would you ever think that you wouldn't be able to feel yourself or to connect with consciousness and with the field and with God if you express yourself and if other people see you expressing yourself? Why would you ever believe that? There is nothing to seek because it lives within you. The only thing that stops you from connecting with it is all the fears and doubts and filters. The more fearful or tense you become in your body, the more blockages you created, the less you feel connected and the less you experience. That's why you experience so much more when you're a child and not when you grow up. Because you just become so filtered on what's wrong and what's right. There's nothing that you could do that severs that connection, because that's just who you are. A soul having an experience through these lenses of reality. And you know that. And the actual only thing that prevents you from experiencing it in a deeper way is fear. So I guess this is my way of presenting myself. And just being like, I don't want to live in fear anymore. I don't want to. It's not fun anymore. And it makes no sense. And it actually makes me more disconnected than connected. So I'm just doing this, sharing a piece of my mind for other people to see.